Welcome to the Bill Spadea Show on demand. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this show so you'll never miss a minute. New Jersey 101.5.
Bill Spadea is compensated for commercial and nonprofit appearances.
6:10 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. I want to thank Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. Now, Dan, I'm not quite giddy about the forecast, but I did love yesterday's weather. It was hot. And I was in a suit, but yes. I was in Summers Point. I spoke at an event in Atlantic County. It was like, I don't know. I walked out of the event probably 6:30, maybe almost 6:45. It was beautiful out.
We had a nice breeze yesterday. That really makes the difference when you've got the beating sun and temperatures close to 90, moderate humidity. You get that breeze, keep the air moving around, and that makes you a little happier.
Yeah, it was nice. Now, what are we thinking today? Rain?
There will be some rain.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it'll storm everywhere. It's an eyes on the sky kind of day because the exact trajectory of this thing just depends on so many things where storms actually pop up. It looks like the northern half of the state, best chance of storms would be morning through midday. Southern half of the state, it's later. It's afternoon into tonight, and things are going to fizzle a little bit. So it's one of those days where I can't give you much detail. We just have to play it by ear and see where those storms pop and see just how strong they are.
But super hot, or are we going to cool down a little bit?
Cooling down a little bit, 80 for a high today. Okay. There's some give or take in that number depending on when it rains and how cloudy it stays. It's going to be really humid, though. You can feel it this morning. We're in the 60s. It's a very summerish start to the day. We'll lose the humidity tomorrow, so actually tomorrow looks like a really nice day again.
Now, weekend, I've got my podcast going to be outside.
Okay, when is that?
Saturday morning, 10 o'clock.
You have a good shot there. I think the best chance of a shower or thunderstorm on Saturday is going to be late in the day. There's a good chance it even holds off until nighttime. Again, not a guarantee. It is going to be kind of an unsettled weather day on Saturday, but certainly not a total washout.
All right, we'll be in Seaside Heights out on the deck at the Ocean View restaurant.
Cool. Hopefully you'll get a nice sea breeze and enough peaks of sun to make that. That's going to be a lot of people around. That's
tons.
Cool.
Yeah, we did it last year for Memorial Day. We honor veterans. I have 5 or 6 vets that come on the show.
Nice.
It was great last year. Yeah, it was actually the picture on their website promoting their outdoor space is our podcast from last year, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it was beautiful day.
So there could be a thunderstorm on Saturday. Better chance of rain is still Memorial Day Monday. I'm concerned about those parades and outdoor ceremonies and stuff. But if you're looking for nice weather over the holiday weekend, Friday and Sunday are looking very nice.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Yep.
So, Eric, this woman won, and then they said, "Sorry, we made a mistake."
Yeah.
Can you imagine? It was a slot she was playing.
She was playing the Progressive Wheel of Fortune slot.
Okay.
And
I don't know the last time I played a slot. It was probably after I had a few too many in Vegas and 15 years ago. But so that is. What is that? Is that like $5, $1, and what does that even mean?
You can pretty much play whatever you want. I think the minimum on it is $1.
All right.
It is actually one of the few slot machines that I have actually played.
You have played it,
but not here in the airport in Vegas, and I actually won on it. But that's a whole other story.
And there was no malfunction.
There was no malfunction. It is these progressive slots. They're all linked together at casinos around the country and some of them even around the world, which is why they can offer such huge jackpots. But they're run by a third-party provider. So the third-party provider brings them in, hooks everything up, and basically, the casino just houses them there.
Right.
So this woman's playing it and apparently been playing it for a long time. She said she had put hundreds of dollars into it. All the lights and bells and whistles go off, saying that she had won, $1.7 or $8 million times 2 or 3, based on the multiplier that was on the screen. And then as one of the casino workers was coming over, a tilt message appeared on the screen, which basically said there's been a malfunction. So now that started the whole thing. She didn't get the payout. She went and met with management with her husband, basically said, listen, if you don't pay me, I'm calling my lawyer, and they escorted her off the property.
No kidding. What casino?
So Bally's.
At Bally's.
Yeah. So
one of the first ones, one of the old ones. That's like old school.
Yeah. And then
So that was their plan. Let's throw her out. Imagine, though, that conversation. She yelling at them. I mean, think about how pissed off you'd be.
And I guess she said they offered her, her lawyer said they offered her $300.
Stop.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So now she's suing.
Yes. So now
and
she's
the
suing.
Progressive could have paid her out $5 or $6 million at the 1.7 jackpot.
Yeah, if she had gotten the multipliers and everything on it, and but it's interesting. This started a whole big debate on social media, and you have on one side, said she won. Don't care if there's a malfunction or not. Pay her.
Yeah.
And then you had other people saying, hey, listen, if you thought you were a dealer playing blackjack, mistakenly paid you $5,000 when you only won $500, you're not entitled to keep all of that. The pit boss is going to come over and say, hey, dealer made a mistake.
Right.
And you're going to go, okay, and then keep playing. So what's the...
Yeah.
Is she entitled to the money or not? I mean, it is... Machines do malfunction. There are rules in place to govern, those types of things. There are cameras everywhere. So, and even she took pictures of the screen.
That was smart. Yeah, I would have, yeah.
And it took pictures of the screen, and there's video out there. Other people, were taking video, and the casino threatened to throw them out, by the way, if they didn't stop filming.
Wow.
So there's, it's, I don't know where you fall on that side of the issue, but, I've been the recipient of a botched deal or things like that at a craps table.
User error, dealer makes a mistake, 2 cards come out accidentally. I mean, that happens.
Yep, it happens, and then that's wiped out.
So that's a question for you. My thought, I'll tell you this, I think that they owe her big. I think the way she was treated was terrible. And I think the idea that you could make an argument that if the malfunction is on the win, how many times has the machine malfunction on the loss? Has anyone been denied a jackpot? I think this calls into question all the slots, and I wonder how many other lawsuits will come down the way. Now, look, I'm a big backer of Atlantic City. I want to see Atlantic City thrive. As you know, I've been talking about what we'll do to redevelop and grow, but Bally's, pay up, baby. I think they owe her at least the 1.7, if not more. I'm rooting for her. 1-800-283-101.5. Have you ever felt ripped off by a casino, or have you ever won big? And do you agree that she's entitled to that big win? 1-800-283-101.5, 617, Fast Traffic Instant Weather next.
Download the New Jersey 101.5 app. Sign up for alerts and receive instant notifications on breaking news, weather, and traffic. Staying connected to what matters most.
622 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey, taking your calls, 1-800-283-101.5. So, as you know, I'm a big backer of Atlantic City. I've had several meetings with my friend Don Guardian, assemblyman, former mayor. I've known Don since he was mayor. I think Don Guardian was one of the great mayors Atlantic City's ever had. And unfortunately, he walked into the Chris Christie buzzsaw, the Christie-Sweeney power grab when Christie was governor and Sweeney was Senate president. And no matter what Don did to reduce costs and balance the budget, he could not prevent the state from coming in and making a mess of things. That said, the woes of Atlantic City go back to the casino reinvestment with the rules that came out of Trenton saying that you had to have a certain capacity hotel in order to get a gaming license. There's a reason why Atlantic City has never really gotten to the level of Las Vegas, destination, etc. And we've got the beach. We're going to change that. One of the things that I want to see happen is a change in the gaming laws so that every establishment with a liquor license in Atlantic City and truthfully any small business can partake in slots and video poker, things like that. There's no reason not to open that up. You know, when you're dealing with the big guys, you see this thing with Bally's. I can't help but feel bad for this woman who thought she won in excess of millions. I mean, 1.7 with a multiplier, $1 million. on the progressive slots. And whether the casino's in control of that or not, they're making the money on it. And to tell a customer, sorry, the machine malfunctioned, we're not paying you, raises the question for me, and I hope her attorney, which is, well, how many times has your machine malfunctioned and denied a win? I think Bally's owes her minimum the $1.7 million payout, and I think they ought to double that. I back her 150%. And it's time that these big guys in Atlantic City get a bit of a smackdown and put them back into perspective, where one of the things that we can do for Atlantic City is bring it back as a beach destination. You do that by empowering small business. You do that by allowing everyone to partake in the gambling revenue. But you're not going to have that if you lose confidence in payouts. People have to believe they can go down there and change their life with one slot machine. Without that dream, you don't have much. So I think there is no question in my mind. I hope that this woman wins in court. And if Bally's fights it and it lasts and they don't settle for a couple million, I hope it costs them 10 times what it would have cost them. You got to make these big corporations pay. This is about the little guy. And how many times has a little guy been ripped off by these big companies? So I'm backing this woman. I hope her lawsuit goes through. My question to you is, have you ever won big or lost big at a casino in either Vegas or AC or in the islands? 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. 625 is the time. The news is next with Eric Scott in 4 minutes. 6:37. I just went back in time, Eric. That happens sometimes.
That happens sometimes.
Time to time, that happens.
Now we're going back to the future.
Yeah, here we are. So just real quick, Eric, and by the way, it is 6:38, and I am Bill Spadea. I was thinking about this Bally's thing. So you said $1 million. That was just generally, but it was more than that.
Yeah, I think it was 1.2 and change, I think was the actual.
And then how does the multiplier work? I've never played the progressive slots, so this is a little foreign to me. I'm trying to understand it.
So some slot machines do have a multiplier, and with the Wheel of Fortune slots, you essentially spin the wheel. You know, like Wheel of Fortune, you spin the wheel.
And you get a multiplier.
And you tell you what the multiplier is.
So did she do that or no? It went void. It went tilt before she could know what the multiplier was.
Yeah, apparently what she said is they were trying to get her to do that, to push the button to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not touching this machine. Because she didn't want to be the one that invalidated whatever, you know, if you accepted the tilt and then you kept playing, you're like, oh, well, you accepted that. It's time to, but so she didn't touch it.
She was smart.
Yeah. She was a 73-year-old woman. This was not her first rodeo. She's been at Bally's a lot playing
Jersey
slot
woman?
machines. Yeah, from South Jersey.
So we know her name?
We do. Her name is Ronnie Beal, spelled Roney. Beal.
If anyone knows Ronnie, if you want to call in, I'd love to talk to you. I'm with you on this. God, I wonder what. I think you're probably your instinct is right that Bally's will end up settling something.
Yes,
but $300 is not exactly a settlement. If you thought you just won $1.2 million, they should come up with a number and let her spin the wheel. Right? That bring the wheel, make it a manual wheel. Remember we had the Bob Williams and I. Remember the old traffic wheel we had?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah,
yes,
the NJ Transit trouble wheel. Remember the hell that was?
The delay of the day. Or something
what
like
was
that.
what was it?
Yeah, it was in New Jersey Transit had a delay. What do we think the reason's going to be? Let's spin the wheel.
Yes, the reason we called it
trouble.
something.
There was a
overhead wires.
Right.
Pedestrian.
Yeah, but it's look, if there's a lawsuit, there's a cost to litigation, right? And typically what happens in these cases, in any case really, is the company that is being sued is like, well, how much is it going to cost us to defend this? And then we'll pay, a percentage of that.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm her, you got to figure there's a portion that, you're going to lose half of that to taxes. No matter how you cut it in New Jersey. I know the calculation is less than half, but I always estimate half of whatever you win, you're going to pay out at some point. So but I wonder if a settlement would be different. Would a settlement be taxable the same way the win would be?
I don't know the answer to that. We'd have to
Right?
we'd have to have a lawyer call and or an accountant.
Because in that case, they could offer a lot less. Call it pain and suffering. Sorry, we made you suffer.
Well,
Here's
it's
$500,000 bucks.
Yeah, it's a settlement of a lawsuit.
Right?
It's not that would not be considered
It's not a win.
right. I mean, unless they were going to say, okay, you won, and we're going to pay you $1.2 million, that would be considered
Right, then she pays taxes.
gambling
on it.
profits. You pay taxes on that. I don't know if you win a decision in a lawsuit if that's considered taxable income or not. I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah,
I'd
so
like to know the answer.
So if someone can help us with that, if you're an attorney, if you know the answer to that, because to me, like here, I feel like I want to negotiate this out. I want to bring them both together and be like, look, Bally's, throw her $700,000.
Right.
I mean, for them, that's a take that they're going to pull in what, a day? I mean, I don't know what their revenue looks like. Maybe not these days. Maybe that's a week's revenue now. But I think if you settle, everybody wins, and you don't undermine the confidence. Because my concern, Eric, is that, and I've said this many times, that Atlantic City on the destination chart falls woefully behind Las Vegas.
Oh, without a doubt.
Right. And I think it falls behind even riverboat gambling in Philly and the Indian casinos in Connecticut. I mean, Atlantic City has an image problem. We hear far more about a robbery, a mayor being investigated for child abuse than you ever hear about. Wow, did you see the new game at the new casino? And wow, let's all rush to AC. And I love AC. But it isn't
right.
where it was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
It's not. It doesn't have the same vibe. But it's an identity problem. Atlantic City has always had an identity crisis. They've thought that they want to be a family destination because we have the beach and we have the boardwalk and we have the. But if you're thinking about, hey, where are we going to go for the weekend with the kids?
You're not thinking Atlantic City.
It's not Atlantic City.
You're thinking Ocean City.
Right. And the beauty of Las Vegas out in the middle of the desert, what are we going to do? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, they embrace the whole Sin City reputation.
Yeah.
I mean, it adds to the excitement if you go there. What are we going to see? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
What are we going to, it's kind of like going to New Orleans, when you're at Mardi Gras. What are we going to see? What are we going to possibly, and Atlantic City has had the opportunity on a number of occasions to try to capitalize on that and follow the lead of Las Vegas, but has always shied away from that.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't know that it will ever be a family-friendly, top-of-mind destination. I mean, they're opening the new water park now, and there are things to do with the kids, but it's just not. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah. Well, and I question how many people who are looking for the Sin City aspect would choose a riverboat casino or somewhere in Pennsylvania or go to Vegas on a cheap flight before you'd go to Atlantic City. Now, I've got a plan for this, as I've talked about, and the first thing we want to do is eliminate the requirement that you need to have a hotel with 300-plus rooms in order to get a gaming license. Every establishment that has insurance in Atlantic City should be able to partake in gaming revenue. But you're not going to attract anybody if you refuse to pay out on something that looks by all intents and purposes as the casino's trying to cheat someone out of a legitimate win. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. If you gambled in AC, do you agree that we can make it a destination? And do you really believe this woman won and is entitled to at least $1 million? I say yes. What do you say? 1-800-283-101.5, 645 Fast Traffic Instant with the next.
What do you think? We want to know. Dial 800-283-1015. Join the conversation on New Jersey 101.5.
6:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So, for everybody on hold, Mike, I was going to go to you. Unfortunately, we had a weird power surge. Jill Myra, did you see that? What the hell was that?
Yeah, it's funny.
All the lights went out.
It happens often in this building on the other side of the building that we're used to it. I feel like there's ghosts,
There is a ghost in the machine, no doubt about it. But all the screens went blank, and
just the phones.
The buttons won't work. We literally cannot pick up a phone call.
Wow.
So, guys, good news. I've got a lot to say this morning, so I will be talking with you, to you, on your behalf for the next several hours. Hopefully we'll get this fixed during the news, but,
oh boy.
you know, right, Jill, it's not the worst thing.
No, I mean, you know, Bill's yapping all morning anyway, so
This is what I
he's got
do.
you.
So
Gotcha.
I want to turn the conversation to what Governor. I want to finish up this conversation about Atlantic City, and I just wanted to be very clear that I think part of the challenge we have in New Jersey is that we work against the little guy constantly. So it is fair to say that on a technical end, the casino doesn't run the Progressive machine; it's a third-party company. However, the Progressive slot machines are sitting on a casino floor. The casino is making revenue based on every dollar you put in. And the idea that your machine shows an error message, to be quite honest, not my error message, not my problem. If I put $1 in that machine and it shows I won $1.2 million, guess what, Bally's? Pay up. Enough already. You're going to argue the nuances of who owns what? No way. The average person needs to know that when you head to Atlantic City, you put $1 in that slot machine. If it shows you won, you are an actual winner. This is not the equivalent of a dealer mistake or 2 cards come out. Or no way. If I put it in, I pull that lever, push the button, whatever the hell it is that we're doing today, and the machine rolls up and says, here you go, you won $1 million. That should be sufficient. So my conclusion is that Bally needs to pay up, and I believe they ought to let her spin the wheel on the multiplier based on her $1.2 million. All right. Now, we're going to do our best to fix these phones on the break, and I will come back. So, Mike, please hang in there. Everyone else, 1-800-283-101.5 is the number. Weigh in on this casino issue. Do you agree that Atlantic City could become a destination? I'm on it, and I've got a plan. 6:55. Eric Scott with the news next.
Stay in the know with New Jersey 101.5 News. Get your Jersey news instantly by downloading our app. Listen on demand wherever you want, bringing the latest newscast right to your fingertip.
7:10 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So we're talking about Atlantic City. I got started on this with this woman who hit the Progressive slot, saw winner, not just a chicken dinner, but $1.2 million. And before she was able to select the multiplier, the machine showed an error message. Now, Bally's Casino shuffled her right out, said, sorry, machine malfunction, you're out. You didn't win. She is now planning on suing. I support her 100%. I think shame on Bally's. They offered her $300 for her trouble. Disgusting. How can you have any faith in these machines working? So you're telling me that we're going to take as gospel that the error message is accurate? What about every time there wasn't an error message but said, sorry, you lose? Do you think maybe the casinos are cheating gamblers? Well, all of this adds up to a lacking confidence in Atlantic City, and I am on a mission to fix Atlantic City. I believe Atlantic City should be the beach destination in America. I know we don't have the weather of San Diego. I get it. We don't have the year-round season of some of the beaches in Florida. I get it. However, between the Atlantic City casinos, the beaches, the drive, all of this stuff, this is very possible that we could turn Atlantic City around. What do you say? Mike in East Brunswick, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. I never understood why they didn't look into any kind of cruise ships or port of stop or a place where you can leave from, as opposed to Bayonne or New York or even Boston.
It's a great point. Why isn't there an Atlantic Ocean cruise terminal out of Atlantic City? One of the things that I've talked with our friends about, and Don Guardian, who's one of the smartest guys and most committed guys in the legislature when it comes to Atlantic City, we've talked about reestablishing the rail line between and building from the airport in Pomona to the convention center, the bus terminal, and actually creating an easy path for people to fly in from anywhere and get to the Atlantic City Boardwalk. But that would require an investment in police and fire. That would require, in my opinion, eliminating the room stipulation, so you don't have to have a 300-room hotel in order to have a gaming license, and everybody can have it. So you can get all those things, Mike, but we first have to revisit what has killed Atlantic City over the last 30 years, and I believe it's the gaming laws themselves that have done the most damage. And if you can alleviate that, you're still going to have your fancy high-end hotels because they've got the investment to make themselves attractive. I mean, look at Las Vegas. Big multi-gazillion-dollar hotels thrive despite the fact that your local coffee shop has a slot machine. You know, it's a mentality in New Jersey of exclusivity, and we need a mentality of inclusivity. Bring people together, open up the opportunity for everyone. So anyway, Mike, real quick, do you think this woman has a case? Do you agree with her suing Bally's over the jackpot?
I think she should try. Why not?
Yeah, why not, right? All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate you, Mike. More to come. Stay tuned on how we are going to fix Atlantic City in the next few years. All right. On the other side of traffic and weather, I want to check in with Lucky Smith. It was his mom who is the woman who won the jackpot and now may be suing. Well, he was there. He'll tell you what happened firsthand. Other side of traffic and weather next, 7:14.
Got something to say? Dial 800-283-1015. Join the conversation on New Jersey 101.5.
$7:21 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So we're talking about the woman who sat at the progressive slots in Bally's back in February. Machine says, hey, winner, winner. More than a chicken dinner. How about $1.2 million on the progressive slots? Uh-oh, not so fast, as she went to hit the multiplier, which could have ended up giving her 3 times that $1.2 million. Error message on the machine. As a result, Bally's says, you know what? You didn't win anything at all. The machine has an error, and they actually tossed her and her husband out of the casino. She's now talking about suing. I hope she wins big. I am disgusted by how the casino treated her. And I think if your machine tells me I won, I won. That's how it works. Because how can we have confidence that every time you lost, the machine wasn't also processing an error? We have no confidence in that. And Atlantic City's in trouble enough. It's incumbent on these casinos to get together and value their players. So I want to check in with this woman's son, Lucky Smith in Chemung. How you doing, Lucky? Is that really your name?
Good. How you doing? How you doing, Bill?
You're really lucky?
Yeah, that's my real name. That was my father's name. I'm actually the second. And then I have a son that is the third and a grandson that's the fourth.
That is fantastic. I love that. I love it. Man, double down, right? So Lucky, you're in the casino with your mom. She's at the slot machine. Walk me through what happened.
So she was playing the same slot for a while, got up, walked away, came back. She felt lucky, went back to the slot again, played for a while again, hits, everything goes off, the bells and whistles, people come around her. And then she hit she hit the button for, I guess, when you want to get paid out or someone comes over and explains what she hit for and all that. And people are jumping up and down. You won the big one.
Yeah.
And when they came over, they're like, you didn't win. She was formed around with a bunch of different people, and they were really, really rude to her.
Yeah, I believe it.
And then they opened up the machine, which is weird, said she didn't win, opened the machine up, spun it twice, and then told her she won 300 and some bucks. We got pictures of everything.
From 1.2 million, right? Did it say 1.2 million?
It was not just 1.2, it was 1.2 times 2.
Wow. So $2.5 million. Did the machine pop up an error message, or did casino staff just say, oh, sorry, this is a mistake? What happened?
That button lights up when you hit, and it won't pay out because it's over a certain amount.
Yeah.
So you have to hit that button. When she hit the button is when the tilt came up.
What did it actually say? Did it say tilt?
It says tilt and it says machine error, although everything worked fine when she was playing it the whole time.
It was working fine to take her money, right, Lucky?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the best part was there's a little tag that I never even knew was there on the side of the machine on every slot machine. And they tried telling us, you see that tag? That says if there's any discrepancies or anything, we don't have to pay out.
So you're supposed to read that disclaimer on that tag and just have faith that they're not lying to you.
Correct.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So let me ask you this, Lucky. I was incensed by this story because I feel like, first of all, what an insult, $300. And second, again, no one has answered this question yet, and I'm hoping a lawyer will answer this, and maybe it'll be your mom's lawyer eventually that answers it. But you're telling me we have to trust you that there was an error when we won, but we have to trust that the machine worked perfectly, taking our money over the years, and every time we didn't win, your machine was working flawlessly. Just so happens it breaks down when we win $1.2 million. I mean, I just don't buy it at any level. I don't buy it.
No, I hear you.
So what's going to happen, Lucky? She's got a lawyer now?
She got a lawyer.
Good.
She's been on the news. Obviously, this is going, I guess, a little viral or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just a waiting game until
Now,
they go to court or however that works.
Let me ask you this. Is she on pause going to the casinos, or is she going in trying her luck in between the No?
No, she hasn't went back.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't blame her. Well, look, Lucky, do me a favor. Stay in touch with us. Tell your mom I support her suit 100%, and if she ever wants to call the show, we'd be honored to have her on.
Yeah, I tried reaching out to her. She didn't answer. But
okay, well, I'm
I
glad
can
you
have her
called.
call the show, absolutely.
Yeah, let's stay in touch, Lucky. I really appreciate it, and congrats on keeping the name Lucky going. Lucky the Fourth. Man, I love that. I love it. All right, man. Have a great rest of your day.
One. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk soon. You take care. That is Lucky Smith in Chemung. He was there. His mom wins $1.2 million times 2. Not so fast. Got to read the fine print on the side of the machine. If our machine says it's broken, you just have to take that at face value. We say it's broken. It's broken. Here's $300. Yeah, whatever. Not so fast. Shame on you, Bally's. Shame on you. This is why we can't have nice things. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. Sal, Steve, get to you guys first on the other side. Have you ever worked in Atlantic City? Have you ever won in Atlantic City? Do you agree with me that I think the casino cheated her, and I think she deserves a big payout? 726. Eric Scott with the news in 3 minutes. 738 on New Jersey 101.5. I am Bill Spadea. I want to thank Parks Casino and Sportsbook for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. So we're talking about Lucky Smith's mom. Lucky Smith, guy from Chemung, just called the show. His mom, at the center of a controversy with Bally's Casino. She played the slots, progressive slots, won $1.2 million. Casino comes over, said, no, not so fast. The machine has an error. We're not paying you. How about that? She's suing, we hope. She's got a lawyer. I back her 100%. I think that this is part of the problem with Atlantic City, that they don't get it sometimes. And I want to fix it. And I have a plan to fix it. And it starts with eliminating the rule that excludes small businesses from partaking in gambling revenue. Las Vegas works because every store, every mom and pop can have a slot machine. So you got billions in gambling revenue that is then shared by businesses across Las Vegas. That's why it works without an ocean. We got an ocean, for God's sakes. I believe we can build the rail line between the Atlantic City International Airport to the bus station or directly to the boardwalk. And then once we create that opportunity, then we got to talk to other airlines and expand Atlantic City Airport. We can make New Jersey the destination that it should be, and everybody wins because of the new revenue coming in. But it's not going to happen if you've got casinos that are going to be stingy on a slot machine. I think they're totally in the wrong. What do you say? Let's go to Steve in Galloway. Steve, you worked the slots in AC. So what do you think?
Yeah, okay. I think I have a unique perspective on this matter because I was a slot attendant at an Atlantic City casino for 28 years.
Wow.
And the technology of slot machines themselves is so poor that there are often machines that freeze up, break down.
Yeah.
Customers wait a long time for help because casinos have cut the staff. And I have personally been involved where a slot machine stopped, it froze up in the middle of a bonus spin. Now, the customer thinks, oh, look, it stopped on $1,000. I won $1,000. Well, technically what happened was the machine malfunctioned. The spin stopped, but the spin wasn't over. But it's difficult to explain this to people who are losing money all day long. They see the arrow stops on $1,000. Give me my $1,000. And I have to try to tell them, well, your machine went into a malfunction. The spin is not complete. So when the machine is fixed, it completes the spin and it stops on $20. So how do you think the customer reacts?
I was just about to say, Steve, 28 years, you did hard time. I can't imagine how you were abused by customers.
Well, there's a lot of people who've been there longer than me, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But the thing is, okay, with this lady who, supposedly the machine said she won 2.5. Oh, and every machine has a label that says malfunctions void all pays and plays.
Yeah. Well, of course they have to say that, right?
Right. And that's going to be the legal caveat the casinos are going to use if this goes to court.
Yeah.
So what's going to eventually happen with this lady? They'll give her $100,000. They'll settle. The PR is bad enough as it is.
Well, I'm going to talk about it until they settle, Steve, because I'm disgusted at a big company taking advantage of somebody like that. Because the reality is, their legal disclaimers aside, someone tell me how I can trust that the machine malfunctions because it says it malfunctioned. More than saying, well, how many times did you take my dollar and a jackpot wasn't paid off because the machine actually malfunctioned, but there was no alert that went off? I think you can call into question all of this technology. Just what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. And you can also say it's the casino's responsibility to have machines with good enough technology
that work.
That doesn't happen.
Right, because they're living off the revenue. And let me tell you, you know this, Steve, they're bringing people in. It's all get rich quick. It's no different than the lottery. You come in, you put $1, you might walk out a millionaire. So they're going to take money from people who can barely make ends meet, people who are making decisions on whether or not they can have 3 meals on Saturday instead of 1 or 2, and haven't gone out to dinner in months or decades, or maybe made a choice between, feeding the dog instead of buying their medicine, but they're happy to take their last dollar, aren't they?
Oh yeah, and also the bottom line is going to be that people who are not crazy about gambling to begin with, who might consider taking a trip once or twice a year to Atlantic City, are now going to think, man, why bother?
Yeah.
They don't even have machines that work properly.
That's right. That's right. At least now you can say that of Bally's. I mean, and the fact that they threw her out of the casino. I mean, look, I said this. Kathy, our board op, worked at the casinos for many, many years and kind of had your perspective a little bit, Steve, saying, it always favors the house. And I said, I feel bad for the casino employee who could then get in trouble because maybe he or she didn't, act perfectly, or maybe shouldn't have touched the machine, or whatever happened. These big companies love to blame the little guy. So either they're screwing the customer or they're screwing one of their hourly employees.
Well, yeah, and in the case of the people I worked with, we always had a rule when something like this happens. Call somebody superior immediately.
Right.
Don't try to deal with these customers from my level. Call a higher up right away.
And we don't know. I don't know if that exactly happened. I mean, it was hard to tell from, what Lucky Smith, the woman's son who called in, he said just, basically casino employees, because the customer doesn't know who you're dealing with. All they know is that machine told me I just won $1 million. So, I can only go by what the machine tells me, because when the machine tells me I sorry, try again. And I've already put in hundreds of dollars into the machine. Now I finally win, and you tell me there's an error? I call total BS on that. The optics are bad, and as far as negative publicity, for whatever the largest audience in the state is worth, I'm all over this because I don't like the tone that the casino has used. I don't like the attitude they've used, and I'm worried they're going to either take it out on an employee or really try to stiff this woman, and I don't think it's right. I think we ought to be building Atlantic City as a place that every customer feels like, you know what, I've got an equal shot to everybody else, and maybe I can walk out with $1 million.
Yeah, well, until the technology improves.
Yeah.
I mean, like, for example, if slot machines were cars, there would be recalls daily.
That's a great line.
Technology is not bad.
Yeah. Look, Steve, you're an expert. Almost 3 decades doing it. You retired now?
Yeah, I've been retired for a couple of years.
Yeah. You're staying in Jersey? You digging in with me?
Oh, well, yeah. I just heard about this story just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I'm just getting back after being in Florida for 5 months. But I never called before. But when I heard this in the car a few minutes ago, I had to call.
I'm glad you did, Steve. I appreciate that. Welcome back to the Garden State. We're going to have a great Jersey summer. You take care, man. Good to talk to you. All right, Fred, Sal, Joanne. I'll be back. 746 Fast Traffic Instant Weather next.
Your phone, your radio. It's that simple. Download the New Jersey 101.5 app for an on-the-go listening experience. Thanks to our Listen Live sponsor, Guaranteed Service, New Jersey's premier plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical service provider.
7:52 on New Jersey 101.5. I am Bill Spadea. Let's get right back into it. But first, I just want to thank producer Kristen's mom and dad, Frank and Sandy, for stopping in. Always good to see them. And Frank is a retired detective with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Port Authority cop. Great guy, was there on 9/11. As a matter of fact, I interviewed him years ago. He retired about 4 years ago, and I interviewed him on 9/11 to commemorate the day and honor the fallen. And it was honestly, I think it was one of the best interviews that I've had on this station. And I say that, and I've interviewed the President of the United States. But when I interviewed Detective Frank Accardi, let me tell you, it brought the house down because of his perspective on 9/11, and it was a real tribute to those who served, those who lost their lives and paid the sacrifice for the rest of us. But I want to thank Frank and Sandy for coming in. Once you're a detective, you are always a detective. And once you wear the blue, you back the blue. So I'm going to ask producer Kristen to send that interview out so you can hear it. I know it's got to be 6 years ago at least. But anyway, listen to it. And when I tell you it was one of the great interviews that we've done on this show, and I am putting that by comparison that I've interviewed the President of the United States, you will get a lot out of this, and you'll get a real perspective of why I stand by our police officers at every level. Port Authority, corrections, local, state, etc. All right, getting back into it. So Bally's Casino is telling this woman who hit the progressive slots, you didn't really hit it. The machine had an error. Sorry, we don't have to pay you the $1.2 million. It's outrageous, in my opinion. What are your thoughts? Joanne in Woodbridge. You got about 45 seconds, Joanne. What do you think?
Hi, Bill. I just think it's terrible. I just wanted to share a story from a long time ago when my father was diagnosed with a brain tumor. He always went to AC for fun. We took him one last time, that was his wish, in a wheelchair, and he was sitting at a slot machine and won. And the ticket came out, and somebody stole the ticket out of the slot
Stop
machine.
it. What, out of his hands? Like they took it right out of his hands?
No, he was in a wheelchair reaching for it.
Oh, my God.
I don't know.
What kind of a degenerate steals from a guy in a wheelchair, right?
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Now, let me ask you, Joanne, what happened? Did they catch the guy? I mean, there are cameras everywhere.
No. We had security. We went, dealt with it for hours. They didn't do anything. They didn't comp them a meal or nothing. And my father was a regular there, too.
What casino was it?
It was Sands. I don't think they're there anymore.
I don't think so either. Yeah, well, there you go, right? That's a shame, Joanne. What a bad experience. And he must have been, God.
I felt for my father so much. He was actually a bus driver back and forth to Port Authority in New York for 30 years.
No kidding.
He was robbed at the urinal. He was standing up at a urinal. When he was 65.
Where, at the bus terminal?
He retired. Yep, in New York. Yep.
And what'd they do? They reached in and took his wallet?
Yep, put a knife to his neck.
Joanne, oh my
ran
God.
After him. My father ran after him, and they caught the guy. We went to trial and everything.
Yeah. So let me just understand. So he wins the slot machine, back to the slot machine, because that is a whole other story. We could do a whole show on that. Ticket spits out. He goes to grab the ticket. Some dude comes by, grabs the ticket, and runs.
Yep.
Man, I'll tell you. You know what, Joanne? How many years ago was that, Joanne?
20. It was 2014.
That guy knows who he is. And maybe we don't know who you are. But, man, shame on you, dude. That I can't think of many things lower than stealing from a disabled person in a wheelchair. Good God. All right, Joanne. I don't know. Maybe I could do a show on the lowest thing that humans can do to each other. Man, that's got to be in the top 10. Joanne, thanks for calling.
Sure.
We'll pray for your dad's soul.
I love what you do. God bless you. I hope you become our governor one day. We're heading out of New Jersey.
Don't leave, Joanne. Don't leave. Stay tuned. I'll have some announcements coming up very soon. Hang in there. Dig in with me. We're going to save this state.
God bless you for what you do.
Thank you, Joanne. You take care. Bye now. Sal, Fred, I'll be back. 7:57, Eric Scott with your news in 3 minutes.
New Jersey 101.5 is available on smart speakers. Listen at home by saying, play New Jersey 101.5.
Day 10 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. I want to thank Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app for sponsoring New Jersey Chime Time every morning, every hour on the show. All right. Speaking of gambling and casinos, we're talking about the issue that happened at Bally's in February. A woman denied a jackpot due to machine error. But before I get back to that, Sal, Fred, I want you guys to hang in there. I just want to check in briefly. Memorial Day is here. Obviously, there's a very serious side to the Memorial Day holiday to honor our veterans, and more specifically, those who wore the uniform and died in the line of duty for the rest of us. Joining me now, Sean Mabee, who is a councilman in Kinnelon, and quite honestly, one of the leading advocates in New Jersey on behalf of veterans. And we've got a special Common Ground podcast coming up on Saturday. Sean, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for having me on.
You got it. So let's talk about Saturday. I'm excited to be back in Seaside Heights. We'll be at the Ocean View Restaurant. And I appreciate all the work you did to get this done.
Yeah, this is a labor of love, Bill, and I'm really thankful that the Mabee family who own the property and Ron Gabori, the restaurant manager, welcomed us back again this year to put on the podcast. We've got a great group of speakers lined up that have varying backgrounds, military service, and just service to the country and the state of New Jersey. I have Ron Reckler, who you spoke to the other day, 34 years in the Air Force, a lot of Homeland Security service to the country. Vinny Saracusa served in the Marines, current active duty on National Guard. And we have Frank Shoup, who is a partner in New Jersey's Veterans Network. He's got a lot of vets coming down to really celebrate and share stories and really just celebrate those who've fallen.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's about honoring those. I think, Sean, one of my main objectives here is to help educate the next generation that there are men that came before us that literally laid down their life so that we could live in a free country. And I think that message has been lost in our the halls of our education facilities and institutions, that it's more of a past history. That doesn't really happen now, yet It does, and we don't have to look further than the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, where our service members lost their lives and for no reason, and those men and women that perished, they deserve the honor of their sacrifice, and I think it's the least that we can do. So I want to thank you for doing that. It's going to be the weather should be good. I don't think we're going to get major rain. It'll be a little cooler than it was last year.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. But you never know what you're going to get when you wake up down there. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But you're right, Bill. More than ever, and one of the reasons why you and myself and many others put so much energy into keeping these things alive.
Yeah.
That our kids are not being taught in schools. So
No.
It's a passion of mine to try to step up and just do anything I can to help vets that have given service and really honor those who have fallen.
Well, we're going to have, I'll tell you this, beginning in January 2026, we're going to have a Department of Education that values our military and our American history, and that is going to be put back immediately into our public schools. But for now, we're going to not only raise awareness, but we're going to educate, and we're going to empower, and we're going to honor those who have fallen. So this Memorial Day, join me, Sean Mabey, and a slew of hero veterans. Seaside Heights Boardwalk, the Ocean View Restaurant will be out on the back deck. It's going to be a beautiful day, even if it's cloudy. It's just join us in person, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation about our country, our veterans, and our patriotism. Sean, always good to talk to you. I'll see you Saturday morning.
You too, Bill. Bill, if I could, I just want to give a shout out to Dee and Michael Pellegrino, DPM Shore Solutions. They've had the advertisement for this event running the past 4 weeks. They're huge Bill Spadea fans, and they're just always willing to help this cause. And I just want to really thank them because it's been up for about 4 weeks now, so they get a lot of good traffic.
Thank you, Sean. Do me a favor. Text me that picture again and with their name so I can plug that on Instagram and let people see it and know.
Yep.
Awesome.
I'll do it right now.
All right, brother. You have a good one. We'll see you in a couple days. Take care.
Saturday.
See you Saturday. All right, 8:15. Everybody hang in there. We'll get back to this casino conversation, and let's talk about it. 8:15, Fast Traffic Instant Weather next.
Your direct line to the studio, all in one app. Download now and use our New Jersey 101.5 in-app chat to connect with our hosts. Stay engaged, stay connected. Join the conversation.
Because all the games are going, you kind of blur it out when you're in a conversation with the people you're at dinner with. About halfway through the song, me and this guy Mike, who I'm meeting with, we kind of look like, oh crap, the national anthem's on. We better shut up. So we stopped and put the drinks down, stopped talking, and I looked around and nobody in my section did anything but stop talking. So I in my mind, I literally, this went through my mind. I'm like, I should probably stand up, but I didn't. And the reason I didn't is I'm like, nobody else is in my section. And I don't want to be the guy that is like, oh, hey, I'm a veteran. I'm going to shame these guys. You should all be standing. So I'm like, you know what? It's on a bar TV. It's not like we got Ronnie Brooks in here singing the national anthem and we're here for that purpose. So I just said, you know what? We're going to be respectfully quiet. And that was it. When I left the place a half hour later, the guy called me out of the bar. He's like, hey, why didn't you stand for the national anthem?
Wait,
I'm like, oh, come on. So
I'm sorry. I love this country. I'm voting for you. There's no doubt I'm voting for you. It's just, it just had a bad feeling in my stomach.
I get it, man. I felt bad about it. But
we're in a band, and we pray. And when we play a rock version of the national anthem. And, we focus on the love of our country. And to the crowd, if we open up our eyes, we're going to start bawling our eyes out.
But, Al, let me ask you, that aside, crowded bar, I think there was a social etiquette there that I think you could go either way when you're at dinner and there's something on in the background. That said, do you think there's anybody out there that doubts my patriotism or commitment to this country as a former Marine?
That's exactly why when it didn't happen, I was like, oh, my God, he's a Marine and he didn't stand. Yeah. That's what blew me away the most.
But you understand, no one in our area stood. I didn't see anyone standing. So I'm like, I don't need to be the groundbreaking guy to draw attention to me. What I need to do now is just be quiet and respectful, because I didn't see behind me where guys were standing at the bar. I only saw in front of me, and no one stood because we all just were like, hey, we're in a bar, we're having dinner. And it didn't seem like the right thing to do at that moment, given the context. So I'm like, I'm not going to stand up and draw attention to me and act like this is all about me. Apparently, according to a lot of folks, that was an error in judgment. So I will tell you this: next time I'm at Rivs and the Rangers game is on and the national anthem is playing, you can bet I'm gonna jump out of that seat. I hope people who saw that understand that was not out of disrespect. It was actually out of the ultimate respect for our country, not wanting to draw attention to myself and instead say, I'm not going to shame anybody in this section because it was kind of awkward with the song half over. Hope you understand, but I do appreciate you calling it out, Al.
You know what? I appreciate your love for this country. I really do. It's just, out of all the bars in this area, that is probably the one bar that I don't care. I don't care if there's 10 people in that bar.
Al, dude, I hear you. You're not wrong. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. I'll see you there soon. 8:28, Eric Scott with your news next.
Bill Spadea.
It is time to speak for America and speak for Americans.
Getting you going. Weekday mornings, 6 to 10.
And we need to have that conversation in New Jersey right now.
New Jersey 101.5. Join the conversation.
Spring is in full.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
It's 8:30. I'm Eric Scott. We still have residual problems from all of those issues with New Jersey Transit last night. We'll have all the latest delays for you and cancellations coming up here in just a moment. But pay attention, because a lot of trains are not running on schedule today. Highways and airports likely to be jammed in the coming days, really starting tomorrow as we head out for the Memorial Day weekend. AAA says it'll be the busiest start of summer we've seen in 20 years. The TSA expects 3 million people to pass through airport checkpoints tomorrow alone. For the first time, more Americans are using marijuana every day than they are alcohol.
Nearly 18 million people in the United States reported daily marijuana use in 2022, according to new research published in the journal Addiction. That's compared to nearly 15 million Americans who reported drinking alcohol every day. Out of all Americans who use marijuana, around 40% are using it daily or near daily. Pot use hit a low in 1992, but skyrocketed in the following 2 decades, with daily marijuana use increasing 15-fold during that time. Rick Rickman, New Jersey 101.5 News.
A New Jersey woman who was denied $1 million slot machine jackpot at Bally's in Atlantic City says she's suing the casino. 72-year-old Ronnie Beal thought she hit big on a Wheel of Fortune machine back in February. Then Bally's told her the machine malfunctioned and she won nothing. Bally's says a third party operates the progressive slot machine, essentially not their problem. As for the slot in question, Beal's attorney says they've asked for it to be preserved as evidence, but they have no idea where it is. A former child protection caseworker is facing prison after a child pornography conviction.
Trent Collier of Kearney pleaded guilty in Newark Federal Court to both possession and transportation of child pornography. The 57-year-old Collier worked for the Division of Child Protection and Permanency in 2021 when he was stopped by police at Newark Airport aboard a flight from the Dominican Republic. Images were found on his cell phone and more were recovered during further investigation. Sentencing is set for the fall. Erin Vogt, New Jersey 101.5 News.
Now, Jersey Perspectives made possible by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. The Murphy administration likes to tout investment in innovation, but a new $1 billion tax hike on New Jersey corporations is likely to stymie those efforts, making New Jersey far less competitive. Murphy has been steadfast in his quest for the new tax, despite data that shows the devastating impact it'll have on New Jersey's business climate. And worse still, the money Murphy seeks for New Jersey Transit could be found elsewhere in the budget. Lawmakers have already added up to $1 billion in pork and pet projects, yet Murphy hasn't said if he'd veto that extra spending to support New Jersey Transit instead of another crushing tax hike on New Jersey businesses. Now this from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. Now the Ray Catena Automotive Group futures report. Stocks are ready to rebound in a big way this morning. Pre-market trading has the NASDAQ up more than 1% and the Dow and S&P in solid green territory. Market bell will ring in less than an hour. There was a brief sell-off yesterday over worries the Federal Reserve may not be quick to reduce interest rates. The Ray Catena Automotive Group offering one of the largest selections of luxury vehicles on the East Coast. Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Audi, Lexus, Land Rover, Jaguar, Infiniti, BMW, Mini, or Sprinter vehicle. Visit raycatina.com.
From the Towns for New Jersey Info and Weather Network, it's a warm, sticky, summerish morning. Temperatures starting off in the 60s, and radar is lighting up with some thunderstorms over Pennsylvania. Those will come into New Jersey later today. To the north, from morning through midday, to the south later on. Mostly cloudy and humid otherwise, highs around 80. Continuing chance of a shower or storm tonight, especially to the south. Lows in the sticky lower 60s. And a chance of a morning shower tomorrow, then clearing skies and falling humidity. Highs lower 80s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. This is an important
New Jersey 101.5 News Time, 8:36 as we get an update now, the Trinity Rehab Business Report. All eyes are still on the Federal Reserve. The Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P all pulled back yesterday as concerns about high interest rates weighed on the market. The minutes for the Federal Reserve's latest meeting suggested it may take longer than many hoped to get inflation fully under control. Still having aches and pains? Let the physical therapists at Trinity Rehab help. With locations all over New Jersey and Pennsylvania, check them out at trinity-rehab.com.
The opinions expressed by the hosts, callers, and guests are not those of New Jersey 101.5, Town Square Media, or station advertisers.
Now New Jersey 101.5 Fast Traffic.
Well, again, we continue to monitor NJ Transit for service disruptions this morning following last night's major issue with Amtrak wire problems. Now, we have heard from Amtrak recently. Their service is up and running on a normal schedule this morning, so that is a bit of good news on this Thursday morning commute. But on NJ Transit, we have seen delays and cancellations on the North Jersey Coastline, Northeast Corridor, and the Morris and Essex line. So again, we'll keep you posted when more becomes available. Right now, just check the website, njtransit.com. Turnpike getting better down out of Edison. They've cleared away a southbound wreck at exit 9, so truck lanes fully reopened. You've still got a big northbound jam, though, out of the car and trucks onto the western spur. 2 southbound lanes are shut at 15W for a truck fire. Big jam south of Route 3, both eastern and western spur this morning. You'll see a lot of heavy traffic on 280 getting out to the turnpike as well. Parkway slow Clark up through Union, then again Irvington up through Bloomfield. You've got a big jam on 206 through Peapack and Gladstone. Southbound delays are heavy at Lamington Road. And you've got a crash right off the Route 35 bridge into South Amboy by Main Street. Jeff Fromm, New Jersey Traffic North.
Joel Myra, New Jersey Traffic South. 295 is northbound strong, backed up from exit 26 of Route 42 up through to exit 32. And then we also have delays at 295 north around Burlington County and then also around the area of Bordentown. Route 1 is also tough, northbound, coming out of Lawrence all the way up through to West Windsor. New Jersey fast traffic is every 15 minutes. This report is made possible by My Happy Place Parks Casino. There's action, excitement, great dining and entertainment, great headliners at the Excite Center. There's never a bad seat in the house. Debbie Gibson is July 19th. How fun. Now, there's many more, so go to parkscasino.com. Must be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Traffic every 15 minutes. Next report, 8:48 on New Jersey 101.5.
Hear the latest New Jersey 101.5 newscast when you want, where you want, and on demand. Go to nj1015.com and click on demand.
8:39 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So let's jump right back into it. Let's talk about this casino thing. You know, guys, let's wrap the casino conversation up. I want to ask you about awkward situations that you've had. You know, that guy Al called me out about what happened at Rivs last night. And by the way, Rivs, Tom's River Hub, one of the great bars in New Jersey. Love it. Food's great. Beer's great. Tony Rivoli is an awesome guy, good friend of mine, and super, super patriotic place. But there are like 5 games going on in one screen. Eric, have you ever been in a situation like this? So one screen has the Rangers, or maybe 2, have the Rangers hockey game on, and the national anthem starts. Now I'm at a table. I'm in the back part of the bar. Mm-hmm. Couple of guys, we're having a meeting. It's the end of my day, third stop, and I'm getting ready to go home. But I stop in to have this meeting, grab a beer, and the anthem starts. And all of a sudden, like, that's the only sound you hear. So now, admittedly, we probably went a full 30 seconds before we engaged our brains to know that the national anthem was playing, because I'm in a crowded sports bar. I'm not thinking about the anthem. So at some point I turned and I looked and I'm like, whoa, guys, let's be quiet because the anthem's playing. It didn't even occur to me to do anything else other than stop talking and be respectful. So I'm walking out and this dude stops me. He's like, hey, how come you didn't stand for the anthem? And I'm like, I said, well, first of all, believe it or not, it did cross my mind as I was in there, and I made a decision not to because the entire section was sitting.
Right.
I didn't want to use the national anthem to be like, oh, look at me, waving the flag.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been in poor taste to do that. Then what, are you shaming everybody else? And some people had kids at the table.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't think that was the right thing to do. But man, not only did I get called out in the bar, guy called the show. Guy called the show. What the hell?
Wow.
So I don't know. I think
that's
a
no-win situation.
What do you think?
That's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would have done anything differently than you. It's never happened with an anthem, but it happened recently with me when everybody was honoring my friend Mick from Longford Landscape.
Yeah, we love Mick.
And, great guy, right? So the big ball, it's a black tie thing, and it's a packed room. We all just sat down for dinner.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking, and they're sharing stories about Mick, and it's about this, and it's about that. And I'm sitting at the table with his son, Jack, and I'm talking, and all of a sudden Jack taps me on the shoulder and gives me the shh sign. Well, the priest was at the podium doing the blessing.
Oh, you're talking right through it.
And I'm talking, and like you, I'm not capable of whispering.
No,
right?
That's the problem. Right.
But it was so loud in the room, and the priest was talking so softly, I didn't hear it.
I get it, and you probably were not the only one,
right? No,
right.
and I felt terrible about it,
of course.
But what do? I quickly turned around, put my hands in my lap, and it's
right.
But I did. So yes, I know the feeling. I know the feeling, but it just I don't know that you would have. I don't know that I would have done anything.
Well, I think had I seen, if I was in a different part of the bar and people jumped out of their bar stools to stand up, I would have joined them.
Right.
But I even asked the guy, I'm like, I was in the Marines. You've heard me now for 9 years on the station. Did that moment make you doubt whether I love this country or not?
Right.
I mean, at some point, but it happens like one moment, and people will judge on one thing, and they have no idea what's going through your mind.
But can you imagine if somebody was taking video of that, and then the viral video goes out? This man claims to be a patriot.
Spadea hates this country.
But here's the thing with society, and this underscores that, right? Everybody now is looking for the next viral gotcha moment.
It's exact. You're 100%.
Everybody
right.
is, How many times have you been in a store, a supermarket? I was in a Target a few weeks ago, and there was a minor dispute that was going on. And I mean that not tongue-in-cheek, but literally. There was a minor dispute going on between a shopper and an employee. The first thing that happened is at least 5 people stopped, pulled out their phones, and were taking video of it because they wanted it to explode. Yeah. They wanted it to be one of those, look at this, Karen. Point. Look at, but it was resolved, and everything was fine, and it was done and over, and you could see visibly the disappointment on the faces of people like, we thought we had one.
Isn't that gross? It's gross. There's something wrong with our society. So, question for you. Have you had that awkward moment? And Fred, I will get to your comment about the jackpot on the other side of traffic and weather, but I do want to ask this question. 1-800-283-101.5 is my number. Have you had an awkward moment? Do you agree or understand, or are you mad that I did not jump out of my seat at the bar to stand for the national anthem that was halfway done on the TV screen? Do you think I did the right thing by not drawing attention to myself? And, of course, now I've drawn all the attention to myself by not doing it. What are your thoughts? Did I do the right thing or the wrong thing? 1-800-283-101.5. What would you have done? 845 Fast Traffic Instant Weather next.
Take control of your information flow. Download the New Jersey 101.5 app. Sign up for app alerts and get instant notifications on breaking news, weather emergencies, and traffic delays to stay connected to what matters to you most.
Arrow.
8:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea with you till 10 o'clock this morning. Talking Jersey. So we're talking about awkward situations. So producer Kristen, first of all, it's great seeing your mom and dad.
Oh, yeah.
Sandy and Frank are just awesome people.
Thank you.
And Jody, as you know, is away.
Yes.
And I could hear her voice as I asked your dad for another hat.
You did.
I did. I'm just like, Frank, look, it's starting to fall apart. I need a new one. Her voice was saying, "What's the matter with you? Why is it always about you?" I couldn't help it.
But my dad, that was like the highlight of his visit.
I love it. I do. I love your parents. I think they are
Thank you.
great people. Did you alert out the interview I did with your dad?
I'm still looking for it.
I know, it was years ago.
It was a couple years ago.
I meant what I said. It was on par with my interview with the president. Like it was, because it was so heartfelt and real about his minute by minute experience on 9/11 at the pile, at the Trade Center as the building came down. Just amazing.
Thank you. And thank you for saying that. Yeah,
of
it was
course.
that was very, very far. I was 13 when 9/11 happened, so I obviously remember very well. It was hard. It was very, very hard. Still to this day, hard to talk
Dad
about.
coming home covered in dust must have been just surreal.
Yeah, it was bad.
So you just got a call. You got screamed at by someone.
I sure did.
Who wanted to challenge my calling myself a Marine.
Yes.
Now, what he said was, "You only served 6 months. You're not a real Marine." So I served 8 years.
Right.
And but I did enlist as a reservist. That's true. So you do your 6 months of training and active duty, and then another 4 years of reporting and doing the 2 weeks and everything else. Now, what's interesting is I enlisted during the first Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I got out of basic training in Parris Island, the war was over.
Right.
Then I got discharged in 1999, honorable, by the way. And then 9/11 happened a year and a half later.
Right.
So look, God has a plan for everybody, and that was it. But I qualify it that I say, when I write this in my bio, I say I was a U.S. Marine Corps reservist.
Right. I also want to point out,
I'm not looking for credit.
Well, that's the thing. You're very humble about it, because we thank you for your service. And we also wish you, a happy Veterans Day when that time comes around and all of that. And you're very like, guys, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, I know.
You're very humble about it.
Look, I'm proud that I served. It was personal. Honestly, like people ask me, why did you do it? I'm like, honestly, I wanted to see if I could get through Parris Island and do it. It was a personal, I'm a little crazy with challenges. And I'm like, so there wasn't some dramatic, patriotic, wave the flag, I'm going to go fight for my country. No, I'm like, I could do that. I'm going to go do it. I want to be a Marine. My grandfather was a Marine.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, if my grandfather was tough enough to do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I did it, and I never looked back. And I've still got some friends that that we served together, and we're still in touch. But it's funny. People will call you out on anything.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this national anthem thing. We've got some folks that want to weigh in on that, but I didn't stand. Not to disrespect. Literally, the same reason why, even sometimes in church, how they call up veterans when you're in mass?
Yes.
I don't always stand.
Oh,
sometimes I do.
See? That's what I just said. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not looking for attention on that. I know it sounds ridiculous. I mean, I'm a public person in the media, but, personal things are personal. And I don't think you should wave. And that was my thinking, not standing at the bar, because I'm like, if I'm the only one in the section standing up, now I'm like, hey, look at me. I'm the most patriotic here. That's what went through my head. Apparently not everybody thinks that was an appropriate excuse, but I don't know. I think it's a toss-up.
Well, right time, right place. It just wasn't. And
yeah.
I understand. I get it.
So, happened. All right. Erica, I got to hear your story. Oh, my God, about the priest taking the call during last rites. Are you kidding me? Fred, Mary, everybody hang in there. I'm going to get to you, but after the news, which is coming up with Eric Scott in 3.5 minutes.
Your daily dose of New Jersey on the go. Download the New Jersey 101.5 app. Enroll in alerts and dig into local stories, news, weather, and more. Your connection to everything Jersey.
.909 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So we're talking about awkward situations. Man, there's a lot of awkward. Now, as you know, I live in the awkward. And so I'm at Riv's Bar last night for a meeting after a long day traveling the Jersey highways and byways. And I'm grabbing a beer with a couple of guys that were talking about some events coming up and the timeline of certain things happening. All of a sudden, the Rangers game is on, and the national anthem starts playing. So I'll be honest, I didn't even really notice. I'm like, oh, look, the game is on, but I'm engaged in a conversation. Maybe, 30 seconds, 45 seconds into the song, the bar starts getting quieter and quieter. And I'm like, oh, crap, the national anthem's playing. Why don't we shut our mouths and show some respect? So we did. And then I thought, I should probably stand up. But then I'm like, if I stand up, now I'm drawing attention to myself. Nobody in our section of the bar was standing up. So I'm like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Let's not be a spectacle. And when I'm going to shame the people who are sitting there with their kids at dinner, like they don't get up. I didn't want to make it a scene or an issue. I thought, no, I'm being respectful enough not to say anything. Anyway, boom, I'm walking out of the place. I get called out at the bar. Then a guy calls the show. What the hell's the matter with you? I mean, whoa. Then I get attacked for being a Marine reservist, as if that's not a real Marine. Like, literally, you can't make this stuff up. So my question is, have you been in an awkward moment like that? And what did you do? Let's go to Mary in Toms River. Hey, Mary.
Hey, Bill. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great this morning. So what do you think? Am I wrong?
No, I think you're getting beat up for nothing. I have a point here.
All right.
So I'm patriotic, and I'm also a sports fan. Been to many events. When you're watching out at restaurants, bars, I feel most people don't stand. They might quiet down a little. I think they just go about their business.
Right.
When you're at a live event, different. You stand. Hockey games, I've been there.
Of course.
But my point is this guy, I don't really know. I missed the call, but when he's home, when you're home watching an event, do you get off your couch and stand during the national anthem watching TV? No, right?
Mary, I can't believe you just said that. I literally just said that to producer Kristen because she's teaching her son respect for the anthem, respect for the flag, respect for the country. So when the national anthem's on, if they're watching a game, everybody has to be quiet in the house. And I said, yeah, but you don't stand, right? And she's like, no, of course not. So same thing. Like you're by yourself, you stand at attention. Listen, Mary, it doesn't even end there. I got yelled at. I went to this event where it was a roast in Bergen County a few years ago. And during the national anthem, now I was taught in the Marines that if you are a service person and you're out of uniform, you stand at attention. So I stand at attention, feet at 45 degrees, thumb on the seam of your trousers. There's a way to stand. I do not put my hand on my heart. And I got attacked for that. They're like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, really? I mean, you can't win. You can't make this up.
Sometimes you just can't win. But
no.
You know what? This guy, I'm curious. Does he stand in his own home? Stop attacking people.
There you go. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for calling. All right. Erica, I'm going to go to you first after. And Fred, I promise I will get to your call. But to Erica, you got to tell me the story after traffic and weather. It's 9:13.
Feel like a winner today? Then you should sign up for contest alerts on our free New Jersey 101.5 app.
Arrow.
9:22 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So let's jump right back into it. Had an awkward moment at the bar the other day. Decided not to draw attention to myself, and halfway through the national anthem that was playing on one of the TVs, I mean, Rivs in Toms River, love Rivs. Very patriotic place, but I didn't jump up and stand because I thought, you know what, no one in my section is standing. I had no vision behind me, so I didn't realize that some people were standing, but I thought, yeah, I'm in a bar. I don't want to jump up and make a spectacle and act like I'm the most patriotic guy here. So instead, we just respectfully, put the drinks down and let the anthem play, and then went back to our conversation. Got called out. Somebody at the bar, a guy called the show. I don't know. Awkward moment. Let's go to Erica on Route 78. Erica, what a wild story you've got.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
Every day on my commute from Milford to Morristown.
Wow, it's a long drive.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, thanks for listening.
Yes. So, yes, my mother battled stage 4 breast cancer for almost 10 years and ended up in Morristown. Thank you. Ended up in Morristown Hospital and basically we decided to get last rites.
Yeah.
Because she was dying. And the priest came in and he put his bag down and he came over and we were all holding hands and praying. And his phone rang.
Mm-hmm.
And he went over to his bag and he looked at his phone and he said, "I've got to take this," and walked out of the room.
Oh my God. In the middle
hallway.
of last rites.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm holding my brother's hand and my mom's hand, and I look at my brother, and he looks at me, and the only reason I didn't punch the man in the throat, I think, is because of my dad, and I was trying to keep them both together.
You must have been
For him.
furious, right? How disrespectful.
I don't know. And I feel like absolutely you did the right thing too. Like, you were respectful and you did the right thing.
Thanks, Erica. Thank you. I felt bad. I have to tell you, I really did. I'm like, wow, I don't know how many people thought that was the wrong thing to do, and you know, the judgment going on behind me. But, you know, look, I live in this world. I get it. I accept these terms. But let me ask you about the priest. So did he come back in the room after taking the call?
Yeah, he came back in and he was like, "Well, where were we?"
Wow. Did you ask him, like, who was that, Father? Like,
I did not, because I didn't.
yeah, I get it. I get it. That's a shame, Erica. When did you lose your mom? How long ago?
July 10th of 22.
Wow, so still kind of fresh. Well, we'll pray for her soul for sure. How did your dad react to that?
He didn't make any reaction until we discussed it a couple months later.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't want to bring it up because he was just he was just losing his wife
Of course.
We're going to be almost 50 years. It was,
Oh, my God. How's he doing now? How's he doing?
you know what? He's hanging in there and it's okay. But, you know, when you lose the love of your life that you've been married to for that long, it's, you know, tough.
You know, I talked to my friend Gus last night. He lost his wife, 57 years. And he, so I just, it's amazing how we're all connected at some level. Right. And now he's battling Parkinson's and he's failing. And, you know, I try to keep up and talk to him as often as I can. And you could just hear, and I said to him, I said, Gus, you miss her every day, don't you? He's like, you know, I really do. He said, as I fail, and he's conscious of failing, right? He knows what he's going through and he's tough about it. But he said, yeah, I miss her every day. And I just, you know, so anyway, we'll say an extra prayer for the husbands out there who've lost their wives of so many decades and how they get through.
My mother-in-law actually just passed on March 1st as well, out of the blue.
Wow. I'm
So,
sorry.
yeah,
How's your father-in-law doing? Is he all right?
He's not dealing so great, but it's still more fresh for him than my dad. So
Yeah. Well, Erica, it sounds like you're going to be strong for all of them. So let them know we'll be praying for them.
Thank you so much.
All right.
for
Thank you.
listening.
Thanks.
All right,
I'll
take
talk to you.
care.
You take care. Bye now. Man, that's tough, huh? Yeah, my thoughts certainly are with all the husbands who've lost their wives and the reverse. You know, any wife. I mean, my God, Jody and I have been married. We'll be married 30 years in November. And ask her, it feels long sometimes. But like you think about 30 years and it does. It feels like, wow, 30 years. That feels like an enormous accomplishment in these crazy days where marriage is disparaged and it's not encouraged. And then you think about these guys who've been married 50 years, you know, and Gus, if you're listening, God bless you. Know that I'm praying for you and your kids and Maria's soul. But yeah, 57 years together and you lose your best friend. Hard. So be extra kind to anybody that you know that is going through that today. All right, Ann, TJ, Jack, I'll be right back. Talking about the awkward moment with the national anthem at the bar last night. What are your thoughts? You with me on this? Did I do the right thing? Not standing. I made a conscious decision, so I'll embrace the decision I made and own up to it. What do you think? 1-800-283-101.5, 928, Eric Scott with the news next. 938 on New Jersey 101.5. Let's jump right back into it. So, what do you think about what happened at the bar the other night? I didn't stand for the national anthem, not out of disrespect, actually out of total respect. It was playing on one of the TVs. A Rangers game came on. It occurred to me but nobody in my section was standing. And I thought, you know what? We're going to be respectful and quiet. I'm not going to jump up and make it like, hey, look at me. I'm the most patriotic guy here. I just think it would not be the right thing. What do you think? Let's go to Jack in Washington. Morning, Jack. Hey, man, what's going on? All right, we're going to put Jack on hold. I can't hear him. Let's go to Gordon in Bound Brook. What's going on, Gordon?
Hi there, Bill. Governor Bill. Listen, I'm ex-military also. I served under the greatest commander-in-chief, Reagan.
Wow, God bless you.
And Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
But people today have no respect. Okay? I mean, our current commander-in-chief is worthless. And people, they took away the Pledge of Allegiance. They used to say they took everything away. Total disrespect to sit there during the national anthem. But you know what? Like you said, stand it up and they stick out at people, want to start an argument. You know what I mean?
So what do you think? Would you have stood? Do you understand why I didn't?
Yes. I am on the fence on that one, but I probably would have.
Well, I think if I had been in the back of the bar and watched people stop and stand, I probably would have stood. The reason I didn't is I didn't want to be the only guy in the bar standing and be like, oh, look at that guy. Guess he's got to show us how patriotic he is. There are people with their kids. They're not standing up with the kids. Like, you're not at a ball game. You're not there at an event where Ronnie Brooks is belting out this powerful version of the national anthem. It's on TV. And halfway through, the bar noticed it was on. Anyway, that was my thought. But thank you, Gordon. Good to talk to you. Now let's try Jack in Washington. What's going on, Jack?
Hey, Bill, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Sound great, man. What's going on?
Hey, that has got to be one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. It's a bar. It's a public place. Half the time, you don't even hear the TV at the bar or a restaurant or whatever. So it's now let me ask you. So every time in my living room, football or whatever, the national anthem comes on, I'm supposed to stand. Now, when I was a kid, I always would because that was just because, yeah, I don't know. I was just that kind of kid. As a matter of fact, I took a step further. I would, salute the TV.
Yeah, but that's, what, there's something cool about that. But I was talking to producer Kristen about that. Like that's not what you do. But I will tell you this. If the national anthem comes on and it's on TV in the house, we're quiet. We respect it. We don't, but I grew up in a patriotic household. That was long before I was ever in the Marines. Like, it was long before Paris Island. I was respecting the flag, etc. But yeah, Jack, I understand why some people would say, I wish he had stood up. I didn't like it. At the same time, had I done it and I was the only one in that area, I would have had calls in the opposite way saying, who the hell do you think you are? You're using that to make yourself look good. And I'm like, you can't win. That was a no-win, no doubt.
Well, you want to know what I'll never understand? I'll never understand how in the same breath the guy has the balls to insult your military service.
Right.
Not calling the kettle black. I mean, come on.
Jack.
I would have, does being famous not take away the times you're allowed to just knock someone's teeth down their throat?
You know what? I get it, and I appreciate your passion and anger. The truth is, look, it's I've signed up for this, and I get that everybody's going to have an opinion about something. I would like to think that most reasonable people, though, are like, okay, I get it, and we can move on. I'd like to think that we're going to lead the way to reducing these gotcha moments so that it's not just about the viral video. I mean, you can imagine there are some folks in the Republican Party that would have loved to take that as a video and then post it out of context and be like, he hates the country. But it's gotten to the point of kind of stupidity now, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Got to jump. Thanks for calling, Jack. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Let's go to Ann in PA. Good morning, Ann. How are you?
Hey, Bill. I'm doing well. This is so annoying. I wasn't going to call on this subject, but I'm just so annoyed right now.
Tell me.
How dare this person, question your service and your patriotism, to the country. Everybody knows that listens to your show that knows you are patriotic. You love this country. You have so much respect for the flag. I question the motives of this individual. You know, aside from looking for attention, what are his motives?
It's interesting.
Time of the day after this, I wouldn't give it the time of the day.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ann. I brought it up as a legitimate question because it literally at the table, it crossed my mind, oh, maybe I should stand. And for a split second, I almost did. Then I'm like, that's not the right thing to do because that's going to draw attention to you. And then I thought, oh, now what? Everybody at my table and the next two tables, now they're going to be like, oh, he's standing. Now we got to stand, right? I didn't think it was fair.
Bill, I'm glad you're pointing it out. I really am. Because you know what? This guy, whoever he is, I question his motives. He's looking for attention. And obviously, I don't think, I don't want to say he's not patriotic. I don't want to say he's doing it because maybe he's like a never Trumper. But you know what? I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
I just said it.
All right.
Obviously, there's something going on there, Bill.
Maybe. Well, you know what, Ann? I could tell you this. As things ramp up, we're going to hear more and more of this stuff. So we're just all going to have to buckle up. But the good news is I believe we're all tough enough to take it and move forward because the mission, we can't be distracted by the mission. We gotta take the state back. Great to hear from you, Ann.
And run for governor, Bill.
Thanks, Ann. Stay tuned. I'll keep you posted. Big things are coming. Appreciate you, Ann. Let's go to Roy in Cherry Hill. What's going on, Roy? Got about 30 seconds, Roy. What do you got?
You're not wrong for not standing up. My father was a Korean War veteran and a Vietnam War veteran, Marine, and he was a rough man. I'm a retired Army Ranger, and you wasn't in uniform. It wasn't a live event, and you're not an elected politician like Andy Kim, who was at a live event and didn't even cross his heart.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think Andy Kim served, right? I don't think he has any military experience. I mean, I was taught that you stand at attention, whether you're outside or inside, thumbs on your inseams, and you don't put your hand on your heart. If you've got a cover on and you're outside, you salute. But I wouldn't salute if I take my hat off. You're not going to salute with a baseball hat. I don't think that'd be appropriate. I mean, unless it's part of your uniform. But Roy, yeah, to that point, I just decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to make a spectacle of this. And by the time I even processed the thought, the song was over and we moved on. But man, I heard about it. Thank you, Roy. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one. TJ, Baker, John, everybody hang in there. I'll be back. 9:46. Wow, day's almost over. Fast Traffic Instant Weather next.
Download the New Jersey 101.5 app. Sign up for alerts and receive instant notifications on breaking news, weather, and traffic. Staying connected to what matters most.
9:52 on New Jersey 101.5. Good morning. I am Bill Spadea. So we're going to wrap this up. We had a little bit of an awkward moment the other day. I'm at Riv's Tom's River Hub. Great place. Tony Rivoli. Tony, love you. What a great bar you've got. What a great restaurant. Food's great. They've got a section for families with children with autism, so they can have a nice night out to dinner. I mean, I can't say enough about Tony Rivoli and what he's done for the community in Toms River. Love Toms River, but the Rangers game is on. Boom, national anthem comes on, and we didn't even notice. So we were talking for the first 30 seconds, which if I had noticed, obviously I wouldn't have done that. Stopped talking, then looked around in our section of the restaurant. Nobody was doing anything except being silent and respecting the song and the patriotism, but I didn't stand up. And then, did I catch some heat for that. But my reasoning was I didn't want to make a spectacle of myself. It wasn't about me. It was about, I didn't want to shame anybody that was sitting around us. It was okay. It was in a bar. It was a hockey game that was one of like 6 games going on the different screens, and I thought it was fine, but not everybody agrees. Let's go to Baker in Toms River. Baker, you're going to take us out today. What do you got? You got a minute.
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. What do you think? Did I blow it?
Disagree.
All right.
You know what? As far as you're either 100% or you're no percent. Let me ask you a question. If you were sitting there and in the corner, the president was sitting in the corner, you think he would have stood up?
Yeah, of course he would have.
Okay. Well,
yeah, no doubt. Look, Baker, I thought about it, and I made a calculated decision. I think it may have been the wrong decision, though. But I did make a decision to say, you know what? I'm not going to jump up and make it like, hey, look at me, how patriotic I am. Because remember, from my perspective, nobody in the bar was standing up, but the bar got quiet. I will say this about Rivoli's in the crowd. Man, they love America. It was great. I can't wait to go there again. I'm going to go hopefully get a second shot at this.
I hope you do, because I go there a lot too. And I would, if I heard the anthem, I'd be up. My girls in school, when they were going through this stuff, they weren't standing up. I told my girls, if you don't stand up, you're going to have one hell of a time coming home.
I love it. Look, Baker, I hear you, man. I hear the passion. Obviously, I love this country. I serve this country, and I am looking forward to continuing to serve our state and country. So stay tuned for that. Baker, thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Guys, 9:55, got to get out of here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. I will be back tomorrow, 6 a.m. See you then. Enjoy the day.
Thanks for listening to the Bill Spadea Show on demand. Don't forget to check out the latest online from Bill Spadea on our free app or NJ1015.com. New Jersey 101.5.